Hello.
Hello,
Another near moon time.
mirror moon o'clock.
Yeah. How was your week?
Oh, well, this is the new moon week.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yesterday, right?
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of my shadows usually come up right before the actual thing, and then
Yeah, I
it was
agree.
relatively chill.
Yeah. And it is in alignment with Mercury retrograde, right?
I don't
Which
know
means,
astrology right now.
yeah, Mercury retrograde, I think, started on the same day as the new moon. And it's going to end May something. I forget.
Mhm.
So a lot of shadows cropping up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. What was like the main um, theme, or you said you had shadow come up right before the new moon?
Yeah.
What was your like awareness about yourself
Mm.
or the ahas for you?
Mm. Well, there were themes about abandonment,
Mm,
fear of my mom's shadow coming out through me.
mm,
Um, and yeah, um, yeah, there's so much, but I think just there's a lot of relationship
yeah,
integration
yeah.
happening. Yeah, on so many different levels. Hmm.
I know, I mean, like you've done, like when you said, oh, yeah, stuff about abandonment.
Yeah.
How is this one different than the last time you did like abandonment, or like when you first realized abandonment? Like, is it any different when you
Mm,
recognize it?
well,
Is it easier to process, or how is it like for you?
I think there's a shorter time delay
Yeah,
between feeling something and responding to it.
got
Yeah,
it.
there's a shorter gap for sure. But at the core, I feel that in different ways, it's the same core wound
Hmm.
that gets startled, triggered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
do you get a different like resolution after,
Hmm. Do I get a different resolution after?
or a stronger commitment or something?
Definitely a stronger commitment
Yeah, I feel like that too.
does create a deeper bond because it's like a two-way awareness thing.
Yeah.
Hey, wow, it's painful.
Oops. Oh,
Partner too, and we're both
hey,
just in
you got,
that space. What?
I lost you there.
Oh,
Inner,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
You said
Yeah.
commitment and then it got cut off.
Oh, did I say commitment?
Yeah, right? That's what
Yeah.
I thought I heard. So it's
Yeah.
like, um, you said something like, um, dang. Well, you want to try re-explaining it?
Yeah. I was saying that it's the same core wound, but a deeper bond
Hmm,
comes up from things being exposed every
got
time.
it. So,
Yeah.
so it seems like you're saying like the relationship. So like when you first discovered abandonment, it was like the gap was like this. And then the next time you experience another abandonment integration, the bond just gets closer and closer.
Mhm.
And where do you feel like you are
Just
now with
more
that?
trust in knowing that these things that come up are
Yeah,
here to help us understand each other.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, it's again like this is old ancient stuff that's being exposed.
yeah.
Mhm.
I agree.
But also it's well related to when you thought I said commitment. It is
Mm.
this commitment to show up with it and not hide it.
Yeah,
But I think
yeah,
because it's I know in previous relationships I was definitely hiding a lot more.
yeah.
Mhm. And so,
Likewise.
but when you commit to wanting to be more honest and
Yeah,
not hide things,
yeah. And
yeah,
when you say hide things, I don't think, I don't know, let me know if I'm wrong, but like hiding things where you think like they're not like, it's not like big things where like, oh, I cheated on my partner and then I hid that from that person. It's more like, no, there's no reason to say that out loud. So I'm just not gonna say it. Like those kind of things, huh?
yeah, or
Like
even playing
hiding.
down things.
Yeah. And those things add up.
Yeah.
But you're saying like you're more aware of the subconscious things that are hidden
Hmm.
that you just call out,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. And because I know there's already such this foundation of trust and deep connection that I can feel it when there's something between us where it's
Hmm.
not something being unsaid. And so I don't, it's the commitment to keep the waters flowing
Yeah.
clear
Yeah.
and not get things muddied and polluted with unspoken things.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
saying that now, I have another question I want to ask because you're in a relationship with your boyfriend now. But before that relationship with your boyfriend and you being single, like what's the difference between you integrating and like calling out your subconscious, all of that when you were single versus now in a relationship with your boyfriend and doing the integration work and like becoming aware of your subconscious? Like, do you see any differences,
You
like
know,
pros and cons?
well, I think because I was already in this kind of relationship dynamic
Yeah.
inner circle, including you,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it doesn't feel different. It's the same kind of work
Yeah.
that I was already doing. It's not a new thing I'm doing with him.
Got it.
But the difference is that because we're living together, it's
Yeah.
just a lot more frequent because
Yeah.
when you're living together, things come up
Yeah.
a lot more, just sharing space.
I guess,
So,
yeah.
which means there's a lot more that happens. There's a lot more transmutation that happens
Hmm. Hmm.
because we kind of are committed to working things out, making sure that
Yeah.
home is a place where
Yeah.
we're not, yeah, it's a place of healing and where things aren't pent up here.
And what is that like? Because you said, okay, now that we're living together, we just see it like all the time, right? More so.
Mhm.
Um, do you have moments where like, oh, I just want to break from just seeing these things, or does it not get to that point
I
for
never
you?
thought that.
Mm.
I don't want to break from, yeah, that I need a break from seeing things
Oh, that's good to know.
because anytime something comes up, I so want, like, my desire is for connection and union.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it's not that, then I'm like committed, we're both committed to repairing it, to return it back to that state of union again.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're
Mhm. And the
doing that.
same relationship I have with myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just an external manifestation of the relationship I have with myself. And it's
Yeah.
not
That's
gonna
true.
I'm not like, why is this coming up? Like, oh, this is here and
Yeah.
I want to investigate it and repair it
Yeah.
and return back to a state of peace.
Yeah. And I think it really helps because even your boyfriend is such a sweetheart where like you guys are so in alignment in both wanting to like see the truth, even if it's painful. And so I think that even adds to like, I guess, yeah, like not getting to that point of, no, I want to break. I don't want to see it
Mhm.
because it just feels safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, of course, in the moment when
Oh, yeah.
triggers are happening, I'm not like, yay,
Yeah. Yeah. Of
like,
course.
oh God, here it is,
Yeah.
feeling that abandonment trauma or whatever
Mhm.
trauma.
But you and I both know that, like, yes, in that moment, it's like so painful, but we already know that there's going to be a better outcome, that
Yeah.
we already know that it's going to be worth it in the end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Every time.
And it's so worth it every time.
Hmm. Hmm.
It does hurt in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, and I think, um, uh, like even talking about this, it brings up, which I do want to kind of want to talk about on truth.
Hmm.
I think you and I both really realize on a more deeper level how much we value truth.
Hmm.
Like, so grateful for truth. And I think, well, speaking for me, myself, like, truth is not always like happy, great,
No.
because even in knowing the truth is very painful. It can hurt to see the truth.
You know what I just remembered while you were saying that?
What?
Had this random memory come up
Yeah,
from junior high
yeah.
when I brought a lunch to school that I
Mhm.
was embarrassed to eat
My
because
God,
my mom made me, it's probably something delicious,
I had the
something
same
Korean.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah. But I just, that day, thought I
yeah.
can't handle having this food,
Mhm.
cafeteria, my friends.
Wow.
So I just stuck it in the locker
Yeah. Oh,
and then I forgot about it.
oh,
And it came up in my mind maybe like a few weeks. Oh, wait, because I didn't really use the locker, but
yeah,
somewhere it popped up in my mind. Oh, oops, I left that thing in there. But
yeah.
I just, the longer you wait, the
It's
more it's like,
so
oh, I'm
true.
kind of scared to see what's in there.
Yeah, yeah.
But then one day there was a school announcement
Oh,
in the intercom, like there is
yeah.
something rotting in the locker hallway B.
That's so funny.
And that feeling of hearing that announcement and knowing that it's
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
like
Hey,
my shame, my truth that was thinking up the whole hallway, and how scary it was to know I was the only one who knew the truth
yeah,
and no one else knew.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I bet everyone wanted to know
yeah.
who
Like
owned
that
that
smell
locker.
was the manifestation of my shame.
Yeah. Dang, dang.
Like
That is an
shame of my
embarrassing story.
culture.
Yeah,
Yeah, shame.
yeah,
And how scary it feels to, yeah, my relationship to truth.
yeah,
Like I didn't want that to be my truth. I'm like, oh no,
yeah.
no. But
Wanting to avoid it, but that avoidance was so strong that
yeah, the
you like,
avoidance was so strong
yeah,
and it
you manifested forgetting about it.
mhm,
Like I don't want that in my
you
life.
can't forget about it. And so that's the thing with
Yeah.
truth. You think
Yes.
you can just
Yes.
put it away,
Yeah. Peace
but
out.
no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start thinking.
Yeah.
And the more you push it away, now it's getting louder. There's an intercom announcing.
Yeah. And then and then to still want to avoid truth, now you have to live this life like covering it up wherever
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And that's stressful.
I
Yeah.
just felt like such a criminal.
Yeah. Dang. Dang. Wait, so tell me what happened.
So
How did you end up taking it
I
out and all
think
that?
of course, I didn't tell anyone. I
Yeah.
just had to be super stealthy. And in a moment, maybe in between class, I just snuck out saying I have to go to the bathroom. And I just,
Oh, while no one was there.
yeah,
Oh,
took
that's
it out
smart.
and threw it in the
That's
trash.
smart.
And it was so nasty.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like a full on creature at that point, you know?
Man.
Mold.
Man.
Yeah.
Man. Dude,
And
those
I think
are
I had that
scary.
relationship to truth for a long time
Yeah.
about the shameful things I thought about myself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. In the past, I used to like feel a certain way and I just wouldn't say it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
that's
held it
that
in.
stinking
Uh-huh.
the
Uh-huh.
thing you shut into
Yeah.
the locker.
And it
Yeah.
gets to the point where um like, okay, if it's not gonna come out, then I just end up like pushing myself away and like whatever, like losing the connection or whatnot. Yeah. Yeah. Instead of calling out the truth so that like everyone is aware to make space for repair or resolve, you know? And truth really allows that to happen because everyone makes mistakes. Everyone like messes up. Everyone can change from like the quote unquote good to bad. I mean, like bad to good or good to bad. Like everyone, yeah, like the process of change happens from seeing the truth. But if you keep denying what's really real, wow, it just creates more chaos and mess. And yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that's kind of normal, right? Even how we're raised as kids.
And I was just wondering
Yeah.
what your take is on this with how can one come to embrace truth
Uh-huh.
from a place of total resistance? What is your
Oh, that's
approach
a
to
good
that?
question.
Like, is it something that you think we need to be helped to? Or is this really a solo soul journey you have to do for yourself? Or,
Wait, so what was the question again?
okay, so how does one come to embrace truth from a place of, like me, total resistance with that lunch?
Oh, so looking at the resistance. So if you had resistance to looking at that lunch, then the doorway in to see the truth is to side with that part that's resisting the lunch. So if you're resisting the lunch, like support it. Like become aware of why you're wanting to resist the lunch because there's truth in that. What was your truth? So like if let's say it happened right now, right?
Yeah.
And like what would you have said about what is your awareness around not wanting to own your lunch and eat it?
Mhm. I didn't want to face being different and feeling separated from what normal,
Yeah.
what my normal peers, what they were eating.
Yeah. And maybe that truth could basically arise for the kid back then, like your younger self, of okay, so if I don't feel good about bringing this, I'm not going to bring this. I'm not going to bring it to school. And then maybe tell mom the truth of, mom, I don't want to pack lunch, like these kind of lunches to school, because I realize it makes me feel like this. And until
And
I
I think
learn,
I've told her before.
uh, oh,
I know I've told her
oh,
before. Yeah. And she's
so,
just like, why? It's good.
oh,
You like eating it at home.
yeah,
And she's like, you know how much hard work I put into making this and you don't
yeah,
want to eat it? It was like
yeah.
that.
Oh, so it must have been really tough then.
And then she's offended that I'm not receiving her gift,
Yeah, yeah,
like her love.
yeah,
So then I was
yeah.
trapped.
Lose,
So
yeah.
I just have
Wish,
to take it and then keep it a secret. And that's where I have to
I
do things
see,
secretly by myself.
I see. I did it in a different way.
Oh, how did you do it?
Like in elementary school, my mom did pack like gourmet sandwiches or stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
With like lead and just the way I like it. It's just really good. And I
Yeah.
know it's good, but
Yeah.
I've noticed that everyone that packs lunch, they packed and brought Lunchables.
Hmm.
Like a lot of kids brought Lunchables. No
Yeah.
one
I
brought
remember that.
like gourmet stuff. And I wanted to be like them too. Like, why do
Hmm.
I get this kind of sandwich? I want Lunchables like everyone else too. I do not want to stand out.
Uh-huh.
And so at lunchtime, I would just kind of like sit there and not eat. I wouldn't even take it out because I didn't want people to see what I'm eating. So I didn't eat lunch and I would either toss it. But like I remember one time a friend um brought their lunch and then said, "Why aren't you eating?" It's like, "Oh, I'm not hungry." So they asked like, "Oh, what do you have for lunch?" So I was embarrassed, but what can I do? So I just kind of opened it up to show them. They're like, "Oh, you don't want to eat this?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I'm embarrassed. And then, "Can I trade lunches with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I'm like,
You
"I
got the
want,
Lunchables?
yeah." And I was like, "I want your lunch, but I hate Lunchables." That's the thing. I hate it. I think it's so
Oh, but it
gross.
was just a
It
status.
was just totally like I didn't want to stand out. And so they are eating it like, "Oh, why don't you want this? Like, it's so good." And I just couldn't own it. I couldn't. And I
Oh,
knew, yeah, no, you're right. It is good. And I hate what you have for lunch. But this is actually making me feel better thinking that I have this instead of that. It's really odd. I just hated standing out. Yeah.
yeah.
So I kept that truth hidden. And my mom never knew. And when I look back, it's like, oh my God, I feel so bad. I feel
Yeah.
bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Dang.
so, not wanting to stand out,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that early
Yeah.
social conditioning.
Yeah. But
It's
if you
scary to
really
me.
get to the root of that,
Yeah.
at least for me, it's, oh, my family never really talked emotionally, like openly to each other about really recognizing how everyone was feeling. You
Mm-hmm.
know, my mom, intuitive, she's really intuitive. So she like would catch that in all of us, but she would still not voice it out, what she would see.
Hmm.
So I never got to notice like my mom was emotionally in tune,
Hmm.
but I didn't know that about her. No
Hmm.
one discussed anything
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah.
So it was just the norm to even hide the truth. It was the
Mhm.
normal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So normal too.
Hmm.
And so I think yeah, having a supported space to share the truth and have it be received,
Yeah.
that was what was missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, and this is another good one.
Yeah.
Integration really helped us to value truth, right?
Yeah.
So even last week when we were talking over Zoom, I had to call myself out with you on how I was being the vampire. Like I was really just draining your energy by me just talking. And I didn't realize that. And I did see it on your face, um, like I'm draining you out. But I couldn't um have, I don't know, I still wasn't aware
Mhm.
until afterwards. I realized, oh my God, like I'm the one that was like the energy vampire towards you, of like draining your energy, and you were not really aware of it. I wasn't aware of it at that time.
Mhm.
And when I discovered the truth of what I did to you, was so like embarrassed, shameful. Again, like, dang, I can't believe I did this to such a good friend. And
Mm.
then, um, but then noticing the truth and being aware of the truth, um, I gave you a call and told you like what I was doing, like how I was draining your energy.
Yeah. And also that I told you, yeah, I was tired after the call.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, yeah, you're tired because of me. Yeah, because I'm the one that made you tired. And the way
Yeah.
I made you tired was I kept talking about me, like nonstop, where you had no space to chime in.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But in the end, I looked at the root cause
Mhm.
of my doing, because I really shocked myself to think that I was doing that to somebody. It was very shameful and embarrassing, and like hated myself that I can actually do that to people I care about.
Yeah.
But in the end, the root cause was so afraid that people don't have my back.
Mhm.
The world is unsafe. No one has my back except for myself. Yeah. And I did this whole integration.
Mhm.
And now I'm like, oh my God, I see there was two fragments within me when I was talking to you. Because
Yeah.
when I was talking to you, I was so not aware. It was
Yeah.
only afterwards I became aware something didn't feel right, saw
Yeah.
myself, and realized like, oh, this other part
Yeah.
was so like, I don't know. One part was so zoned into not seeing it.
Yeah.
The other part, which was the shadow subconscious. And when I saw that truth, whoa, yeah,
That truth that you are afraid no one has your back.
yeah, yeah. So I forget what I was
So
talking about.
because no one has your back,
Yeah.
you does that cause you to talk a
Yeah.
lot?
Yeah. Okay. If I remember correctly, I forget what we were talking about,
Mhm.
but like it felt like I needed to say out loud um my truth, what I think, and that having to be seen and heard to be validated. And that was somehow some way of like try to get others to see that like, oh, like I'm aware of this, I'm aware of that. So like I don't know, it's kind of like building um like building a connection or relationship where someone wants to have my back.
Mhm. Mm, mhm.
Yeah. And if I don't do that, then it's like I don't have anything to build. And if I don't have anything to build for myself, no one's going to just want to have my back or something like that. Um, yeah, but there was something where I got to that awareness and it was in a very scarce place.
Mhm.
And I see why when I was talking to you that time, the vibration of my voice was it was coming from that scarce place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Mm.
was draining to the other person, like
Mhm.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I knew that there was some energy that's is not in most of
oh,
our interactions. It was something
yeah.
different there.
You said you felt off, right?
Yeah, I felt off,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I also started to kind of maybe check out a little bit too
Yeah. Yeah.
because I was getting tired because of this subconscious energy happening in you where I
Mhm.
felt like you needed something from me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it was making me tired. Like, or,
Yeah.
of course we need something from each other. We need
Yeah.
presence. We need to be
Mhm.
listened to. But there was something extra.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you needed to like prove something
Mhm.
to yourself, the world, to me, whatever.
Mhm.
And but it wasn't conscious.
Yeah, it was so subconscious. It was subconscious
Yeah.
energy that was creating this. And
Yeah.
I was only in the reality of my conscious self of
Yeah.
not recognizing it.
Uh-huh. Because
Yeah.
you can tell there's different energies, from different people you interact with, where when you feel like someone is speaking something from a place of um
Like it
like
felt
lack
like
or like
empty.
insecurity versus like, oh no, I
Hmm.
really just want to share from.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference where
Yeah.
it's like something where you're like pulling energy. That's why you said you felt like an
Yeah.
energy vampire. You're like,
Uh-huh. It
yeah,
was very floaty, like very
okay,
light. Whereas um like being grounded in what you I don't know, but
try to
when I was
recall the
in that
energy.
split, I
Hmm.
felt very like a balloon.
Yeah,
I wasn't fully in my body.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And it
yeah.
made sense why. Yeah. And I was like not aware of it either. It was like subconscious, but I also knew something felt off within me too. But that scarce energy didn't give me time to catch it because it was so scarce. It just kept going.
Hmm.
Like I just needed to just talk, 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 talk.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And but I'm so glad that I caught this blind spot because it's something I like don't like to be on the receiving end, but also to be the one doing it either.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like, well, if that part is in you, it's also in me. And
mm,
I feel that I also have a part that could be like that, but I definitely don't, wouldn't let myself do that because I'm afraid that if I am like that,
yeah.
no one will have my back too. So,
Oh, wait, so how do you wait? So you are aware of it and you just kind of suppress it? Is that what you're saying?
because I think sometimes with someone that only I feel really super safe with, like
Yeah.
for example, my sister, I think I could be like that
Oh, I see.
with her
Yeah. Oh, is it because you know the connection's never gonna break?
because I know that she'll still have my back,
Yeah.
even if I'm
Yeah.
annoying like that,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
just
okay, okay.
be like, and then and this and this.
Yeah.
But with other people, I don't because
Yeah.
I'm afraid if I am like that,
Yeah.
they won't have my back.
I see. So, so it's like you release it, but you like there that part chooses who to release it to. So it's kind of like the most safest person.
Safe person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And it was really nice to like be able to call it out.
Mhm.
So even when I like called it out and told you about it, um, I had an experience where, oh my God, it feels so good to call myself out and to be able to tell you this and then like look into it and heal it. And then it's just repaired. And it just, I don't know, it just seems like, oh, it brought us like closer again, or like as friends, like we can
Yeah.
feel safe to call each other out. And
Yeah.
that was a lovely gift in the end.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I didn't, again, while it was happening, it was something very subtle and I barely would have noticed, but then you called yourself out and then it had gave me the chance to reflect. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And then we, at
I
the
was
end of our
tired. That made me,
conversation,
that interaction made me tired.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Because
was like
if,
draining.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then
Hmm.
you were able to call out and feel into it more of like how it made you feel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which motivated me to be like, oh God, I'm really gonna look into this and integrate this thing. And when I did, it was such a big one.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely a generational pattern. I realized uh
Yeah.
my mom, my dad also had this strongly within them,
Mhm.
which was passed down to me. And after I realized this, ironically, my mom calls, no, it was the same, it was the next day on my mother's birthday. She basically called out like how drained she is. And to look into that, it was the same root of like, oh, no one has my back. I was like,
Mm.
whoa. So the day after, she also healed it, and it all came from the heart space. Yeah. And when she healed it and I healed it, um, we had this like rebirth moment. I don't know, just rebirth. Yeah. Yeah. So that
Wow.
was pretty cool. Yeah. And I realized, oh, it was a family pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I noticed it about my dad. And then I told my mom, and my mom validated with me with the story. I
Yeah.
was like, no, you're right, because this and this happened when your dad was young. I was like, oh, I had no idea. So it was yeah, passed down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No one has my back. So I just have to be like really fixated, out
Yeah.
of body, disembodied, and like be in your own kind of loop.
Yeah, that will underneath no one has my back. Because if no one has your back, let's say if that's the belief, no one has my back, and you can only trust yourself, I guess, with it. And even trusting yourself is kind of hard too. Um, like then that means the deeper wound and fear is nothing is safe. Nobody is safe. So you're basically like so separated, that part is so separated where I have to take care of it all on my own. If I want that, I have to take care of it. If uh I want to experience that, I gotta do it in a way where that happens. Like I gotta create it. It was only just I.
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So you get really in this almost narcissistic bubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me, 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 me.
Yeah. Only I. But then narcissist is like you control others to do it. But in this case, yes, but it was more of um like I don't trust anyone else to do it but I.
Yeah.
It was more that instead of trying to get other people involved
Hmm.
to do it the way I want to, because again, other people are not safe. So it's like I can't even trust them to even give me what I want. Like I have to do it. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah, that's
Wow.
yeah, that
Wow.
really like blew up like for my family, realizing and recognizing, whoa, that was a big, intense blind spot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of like, I don't want to talk about healing. Because every time we like integrate, okay, so now in our friendship, it's like we told each other, um, okay, let's not be afraid to call each other out. Let's not be like becoming more truthful. And, but then I feel like there also is a line of like how to convey truth in a way where it's not really like hurting somebody. There's a difference, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah. And I
Well,
really feel like it's in the tone.
can be hurtful to somebody.
Yes.
Truth.
Oh, for sure. But I feel like there's like a different energy behind it when someone says it from a space of like genuine truth versus speaking the truth from like, I don't know, to get something out of it or something. I don't know. There's like, there is a difference in the tone,
Mhm.
the voice, I feel like.
Mhm.
I don't know how to explain it, but you get it, right?
Yeah, yeah. When there's, well, on some level, like I'm hurting so much with something
Yeah.
between this relationship that I also want you to, like, I'm offering the truth of my pain, but also I want you to feel the pain with me too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But I think even when you say that, like when, so even when you express that, were you thinking of it in terms of like, I'm including you in it? I
Well,
want to
interesting.
include,
I mean, it's kind of both
yeah.
because on one hand, I'm including you in it, but also I think there's a certain energy that wants to, it's because that part that feels alone in the pain
Yeah.
based on what was happening in interaction almost like wants to also for the other person like include them in on knowing what was happening but also wanting them to feel that pain too
Uh-huh.
of what you were feeling um so that you are not alone in feeling the pain.
So example. L- So let's say a girl, I don't know,
Okay,
what,
like
what was she, what was she?
okay, say like you're on the road and someone like cuts into you.
Yeah.
um okay, is that a good example? I don't know, but you want, you're like startled and so you're angry and
Yeah.
so then you want to, oh, I guess I have Beef on my mind, the TV show.
I see.
But it's like, okay, so there's that first offense where you're like, ah, that
Yeah.
scared me, but then you want them to suffer too, like
Yeah.
in the same degree that they accidentally made you suffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Um,
Wanting to get back with
yeah.
more pain.
And sometimes truth comes out in that way because they feel like they're not going to be seen if they don't express it in that way. Oh,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Or else they wouldn't need to. They're just like, hey, and then would be able to say it calmly or something. So I guess it's also needed at times of like, no, like that anger to come out. Like, no, I just really want you to see it because I feel like you're not going to see it if I don't say it this way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, really wanting them to see it.
Okay, so then let's say I cut you off and we don't know each other, and then you just went off on me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't have space to see that, so if I wasn't aware and was like, oh my God, what is that bitch's problem? Like, fuck you, lady, right? I could also respond in that tone. But if I was aware of like, okay, I cut you off and then you get upset at me and like cuss me out, whatever, out loud, then it would stop right there. Like, oh shit, it was my fault. And I see that like she just basically blew up because that's how angry it made her, and felt like I wouldn't really see how upset she would be. She's only painting a picture for me of like, this is how much I upset her. And then recognize that, sorry, and then go. And then it would have just ended it. So then it's like, if people recognize sometimes of like when to take it in, because although, let's say for an example, you were aiming it at me, um, I don't know, if there is no space to really understand that reaction, then it would be very offensive, like me taking it, like it'll be very personal. But if I understood, oh, oh, I know what that looks like because I've done it too.
Yeah,
And I know
that's
that
it.
feeling state.
Space to understand the reaction.
Yeah, yes,
That's what it is.
yeah.
For both sides.
On both sides.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I guess it,
I guess that's missing a lot of the time.
yeah, yeah.
Like, um, in the,
Understanding that we all have that within us.
yeah.
Yeah. And to know what that's like.
Mhm.
Yeah. But we all think, oh, a lot of us in society really taught us to be like, they're not going to understand.
Mhm.
It's hard for each other to understand or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Assuming they're not going to understand,
Yeah.
reacting from that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were we going with this?
I'm not sure, but
But yeah,
yeah.
truth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truth of
Oh, I
itself
heard
has,
this thing
yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Where did I write it down? Um, Something about like you're going to, yeah. Oh yeah, that you will fight to remain consistent with how you truly see yourself.
Wait, say that again. Wait, what?
You will fight to remain consistent
Uh-huh.
with how you really truly see yourself.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Even if your life looks like something else, if you really want it, you would fight for it, like even subconsciously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like what you were saying, the thing about no one's going to understand me.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
that's how you see yourself,
Mm-hmm.
then you're always going to have
That perfection.
read a certain experience as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
But then that experience is so painful to have in your conscious state that another part takes over, so you don't have to feel into that all day, every day. So then to that person manifests someone seeing them and someone really not seeing them and experiencing both.
Mm.
Yeah. But then to really liberate from that space is getting that part that believes no one is going to understand me.
Yeah.
Like you have, and that's what we do with our work, right?
Yeah.
We get that belief that's not really helping or doesn't feel good. Like to really understand that part
Yeah.
to help them to like come out of there if they want.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think to undo that belief, also you have to look at how that belief was benefiting you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good one. Yeah.
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 Because as long as you believe that, then you get to kind of feel justified and right
Mm-hmm.
with your worldview
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and be able to see, like, see, there's another proof. I'm right.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Mhm. Yeah. So my anger here, when I don't feel seen, is justified.
Yes. Yeah.
It's righteous anger, and I don't have to look any further from that. And it could just then always stay with, like, see, you don't understand, you don't understand, you don't understand. I can just have this wall here
Mm-hmm.
and keep my worldview intact that
Yeah.
this is correct.
Yeah. It's such a separated reality
Yeah.
from
And
all
so,
of it.
it's like the way we needed to create some sort of semblance of safety in the separation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's so important to just unite everyone to see each other. Because that's only when repair can happen. Yeah.
Is
Seriously, you really have to be brave to see the truth.
see the truth and to collect the parts of you that, to collect the pain that created the necessity to
Mm-hmm.
um, build that wall.
Yeah. And it's so painful.
Oh, it
Like,
is.
like, and it's so fascinating too, where the brain and our emotions can really fear like like those thoughts. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously from those experiences, but if those experiences passes on, like those thoughts still keep those feeling states so alive.
Yeah, yeah, and it's when
That's
it's become the foundation of your life,
yeah,
like
like
you
it
build
really
your whole
controls.
life on that ground
Yeah, yeah,
where, like, nobody
yeah,
has my back.
yeah. Everything's interconnected.
Mhm.
Yeah, like trust and safety, repair, success, whatever, they're all connected. And also like uh, the mind, the body, the emotions, the spirit, whatever, they're all connected. It's just like this web of all these interconnected things where we just have to like, I don't know, rewire, I guess. Um, and to recognize like to connect it in a healthy way that benefits us and everyone. I don't know. It feels so complicated.
Yeah. Actually, I was talking with a client yesterday
Yeah.
and working on this, and we are talking about how, like, they need to come up with a um actually, this is something we should all do for
Yeah.
the protector part of ourselves, the ones that, like, like put up the wall, that wants to believe no,
Yeah.
unsafe to trust people, it's unsafe to let go of this foundation of fear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that um and we were trying to brainstorm things of we need to come up with
Yeah.
like a new marketing strategy
Yeah.
that's based on truth about how to convince
Yeah.
that old part
Uh-huh.
to let go and move into the new reality
Ooh,
together
yes.
with its opposite part. Like there's
It's
a part that wants change, that wants the rebirth, but there's the
yes.
old part that's still saying, no, like
Mhm.
I like it here. It's comfortable. It's safe. I built my whole reality here. And it's like the new one that wants rebirth, almost like the old part needs a lot of kind of coaxing.
Mhm.
You're like, here, the benefits here, here, here. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it needs to be seduced out of its cage.
Yep. I totally agree. And I also had that same awareness too. It is that you have to go to that place where it was the original dominant energy of
Hmm.
that belief,
Yeah.
because everything is growing inside of that dominant belief.
Yeah.
All of the
Exactly.
new awareness is growing inside of that dominant
Yeah.
belief. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in
So,
order
like,
for it to
how do
grow
you,
more,
right.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, keep going.
Oh no, no. When
Okay.
you were gonna
Well,
say, how do you?
yeah. So um, basically, yeah. Oh, right. Back to truth. How do you get that part to want truth?
And that's the bravery part,
Mhm.
because it's basically that part, that dominant, like painful part, is already feeling it all day, every day in the subconscious. It's basically the conscious self that separated from it to surrender to that part of like recognizing what it's like to be living that all day, every day. And then once it really sees what it's like to remember what it's like to live in that belief every day,
Believe in the life inside the cage.
uh-huh, uh-huh, then it's gonna recognize like, oh my God, it all this anxiety comes up too of like, I can't stand it here. I can't survive here. I feel
Mhm.
like I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Like it's
Or
so
like I feel like I
suffocating.
am dead. This
Uh-huh.
isn't life. It's
Yeah,
not worth
it's not
living if
living. Yeah.
I have to be here in this
Mhm.
stuffy
Yeah.
cellar with no
Uh-huh.
oxygen.
Uh-huh.
I'm lonely.
Yep. And from that space of, oh, I can't stand it anymore. I don't like this feeling, is when that part is like, I'm like willing to like listen to anybody that has a solution to this.
Yeah.
And then that's when we can introduce the fragment of that belief. So like it doesn't even realize that that dominant caged up belief of, let's say, the world is not safe, again, that example. So if that's a dominant belief that all other things grew in there, then it's so painful, because what happens is it's like, oh, this is so painful to be in. Everything is unsafe. Like, there's no point in living. I feel suffocated and whatnot. Like, I just want. And in that moment, it so knows what it doesn't like. It naturally blurts out what it wants. I just want peace or whatever. Like, I just want, and they're genuinely wanting it from that space of, I hate this. Why? I just want. And in the moment that thought occurs, I just want is so purely powerful that it generates, it gives birth to like
Yeah.
the thought of like, I want peace. It's
Desire.
like, peace.
Yeah.
How am I going to find peace in here? So
Yeah.
it starts trying to find peace in that environment of, it's not safe. In that cage environment, it starts
Yeah.
anything. How do I find
Yeah.
But then how do I find it how do you find that if you're growing in an environment that's
The
like,
opposite of peace.
yeah, like seriously, everybody in the external, wherever you go, doesn't um, mirror that of peace. So then this part that gives birth that becomes fragmented of, okay, I'm going to find peace wherever. It's so in that scarce place, but really wanting it, that it'll really get it from anything. Like it's willing to do anything to get some sort of peace. So then it somehow realizes like, oh, if I obey this person or if I serve this person or if I listen to whatever they want, oh, they end up being nice to me or they end up not bothering me or and for that little bit I experience some peace. And so
Mm.
then it ends up
By
becoming,
listening to someone, or are you talking
yeah.
about like, um, yeah, what are you talking
Oh, so if the dominant belief is the world is not safe,
Yeah.
so it creates that in
Oh,
the
oh, I see.
reality.
So say you like go on YouTube and you like
Mhm.
listen to Ram Dass or something,
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, I'm
yeah,
feeling
peace.
peaceful.
Uh-huh. But for
Mhm.
a kid growing up, let's say it's just a kid and
Yeah,
doesn't know YouTube, whatever, let's just say,
yeah.
then the way they find it is through listening to the other person
Uh-huh.
of like what they want and what they need. Because if I create safety for them, I get that to some degree in return. It's like, oh, if mom's nagging at me, then if I cater towards her safety, which is, okay, giving her whatever she's nagging about, then she'll stop the nagging. And if she stops the nagging, then I get some peace for that moment where she doesn't nag at me. So then that part creates peace through like doing whatever other people
Pacing.
like wants and needs and yeah, the pleaser. But then it becomes a want in the beginning because it's like, oh my God, what's more important to me is like manifesting that peace. So I want to serve you. I want to be the pleaser. I want whatever. But after living that life for so long,
Mhm.
it ends up becoming exhausting because you're still growing in that environment of nothing is safe. You're trying to grow out of there, but it's hard.
Mm.
And the only tools you have is pleasing others to find peace.
Mm.
And then now in the end, like the belief of nothing is safe, and then the fragmented part that's like, oh, I found peace, now come to a crossroad where, wait a minute, they're both not feeling good still. And then that's when the one that found peace is like now looking for answers, like, what's going on? How come it's not working for me anymore?
Mhm.
And then the key to that, when you get to that space, is when you feel the trigger go into the original belief. And this is what we do for work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from that space, understanding, oh, I couldn't grow more out of here because my dominant environment, I've been growing in this environment the whole time. And then basically getting this part, the original belief of nothing is safe, to really understand how it was living. And then recognizing, like, oh my God, you don't deserve this. And letting that part know, like, I live my life trying to find solutions to peace. And I got a taste of what peace feels like. But I realized, oh, it's not about pleasing others to find like safety. I am now gonna just not like I want to find solutions to find peace without having to please others, but telling that part, um, let's go find that. But then to that part that's been living in that all day, every day, how is that part going to trust it? Because it's never lived or even experienced safety. So to get that part on board is um, being like, well, that that is true. It's going to feel like a risk. But do you want to continue living here? all day, every day? Or now that you have this connection and this other part of you really understands you now because they also surrender to your space, but they also know how to go about finding peace and have been finding that bit by bit, that would you want to try something new? And would that be worth it where there is a possibility of peace and
And it's like
growth
you're
for
in so
that,
much
right?
agony in that space.
Yeah,
It's That's why pain is the awakener. Without pain, there is no incentive to come out of the cage, but you got to understand how it sucks to be in the cage to have the incentive to want to get
yeah,
out and experience something different.
yeah. And it's only when one really understands the other
Yeah.
and the other feels it, then it gives room to the other to want to hear and listen and understand the opposite.
Mhm.
And then uniting because they're like, oh, we have each other's back. And then moving into a whole new reality where the dominant energy is not, nothing is safe. It's just now building safety.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wow. Well,
yeah, yeah,
peace this way.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Not
just,
just superficial peace, but really true, deep peace.
yeah. And I
Mhm.
think that's what healing is, right? It's really about like helping one another to see and learn from each other and to understand from each other and to unite to help each other get to a better space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Letting all parts of you get to better space together.
And that's oneness. Oh,
Yeah.
oh. So you know how like some people say like, oh, there's something beyond oneness.
Mhm.
There is something beyond oneness.
What is that?
It's nothingness. Nothing. But then God, source, universe, all three, God, source, universe is is nothing. It's nothing. But in that nothing is so powerful because in nothing creates something.
Yeah.
So beyond oneness is nothing. But nothing doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah. It's the empty potential of everything.
Yeah. In that stillness, in that silence is a thought that is created. So in that nothing is where everything creates. In that nothing, everything creates. And which makes sense with meditation now. When a person meditates, it's like you go from being something, right? Like consciously aware of everything. But when you meditate, you get into that state of nothingness. And that is the same thing as nothingness is death. You know, when people perceive dying and then you just become like, you just go back to the nothing. You just go back to
Absolutely.
everything. Yeah. And like, um, and in that space is everything. So like, I don't know, I just realized like even when you meditate, you're going back into nothingness. And from that nothingness, you kind of in that death space of like giving you clarity of what you're going to do next in the somethingness.
Mhm.
And I see why meditation
Wow.
is so powerful
Yeah.
because in that split second, you become nothing to be like, are you going to commit to this something?
Yeah.
You know? So nothing to something.
Nothing to something. And that nothing is, because it's pure potential, everything essentially a very blissful state,
Yeah.
which is funny. Last night we were talking about people who've had death experiences but came back,
Mm-hmm.
and how it was such a peaceful, blissful state for them. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's that accessing that
Yeah.
nothingness.
Yeah.
back to source.
Uh-huh. And in one of my ayahuascas, now that you're saying that, I remember one of my ayahuasca experiences, I experienced being the source. Like, it showed me that I was no form. It was just like air,
Mhm.
but I was the thought form, and that thought form was connected to everything, knowing everything. And because I was connected to everything, knowing everything, there was no movement. It was just stillness. There was no point in like any movement, any doing, because everything is known. There, it was just stillness, quietness. And then I heard like, this is where you come from. This is where you come from. And I so remember this experience because I thought, oh, my human perspective was like, oh, how boring. I see why I want to incarnate as
Mm.
Sylvia and experience all this movement, activity, emotions, and whatnot. Because in here, you just know everything. You're connected to everything. There's no point in anything. And so that's it. Like, so even in our human selves of being alive, I see the like how it benefits to die and rebirth, die and rebirth. And our integration really allows us to feel that, right? To die and rebirth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna commit? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess it's really irrelevant because I feel like all of us need to learn how to get to that space of oneness. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess you do it one trigger at a time, working with things that come up, one thing
Yeah.
at a
Yeah. So true. All righty.
well, I feel that probably covered a lot.
We did.
Talk.
We did.
Mhm.
But before we go, I do want to mention Kwonyin sweater catharsis, right? You could put a link on.
Thanks for the love.
Yeah. I like love this sweater. Really, really
Good
love
on you.
this sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lava.
Really get noticed everywhere I go. I mean, it gets seen. Your sweater gets seen.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So been wearing it really well. All thanks to you.
Thanks for love. Enjoying it,
Yeah. Yeah.
bringing catharsis visibility.
Totally.
Mm.
Yeah. It is. It's exposure.
Yeah.
I don't know. You put some good energy into this. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, well, I'll see you
Okay.
next time.
Next week.
Hey.